Hello and welcome to graduate school. My name is Dr. Eva Chang, and the purpose of this video is specifically for students who are starting the Master's of Public Administration program in the fall of 2025. If you're starting a different program in a different time, go back to the website page and choose the video that aligns with your starting time. But for those of you who are starting in the MPA program in fall, I'm excited to have you on board. The purpose of today's video is to walk you through some advising notes so you know exactly what to expect in the next few weeks. So let's dive in. The first thing I want to mention is that registration for classes opens the week of June 12th. That's really important to know for a couple of reasons. First of all, once you pay your deposit, it does take some time before you can enroll. It can take up to 7 business days. And that's because there's a lot of back-end processes that have to happen to get you formally enrolled at SMU. So all that being said, make your deposit as soon as possible so that you have plenty of time to register for classes. After you make your deposit, you will check my.smu.edu. And over time, once you're in the system as a student, you will see a lot of notes in the system where you can register. First thing you need to do is go find the holds on your account. It will be really clear when you log in. You'll have at least a few holds. Sometimes it's just signing a financial agreement. Sometimes there are other requirements, but the system will walk you through that. Once you clear those holds, it can take another 24 to 48 hours before you register. So you really do have to plan in advance. You want to register as soon as possible. And here's why. Orientation starts Thursday, August 14th. And this same week, you will be enrolled in a Canvas course with an asynchronous orientation, which will take you a little bit of time and is required. You cannot access Canvas or any courses in it until you are fully enrolled in classes. And so if you're having to wait on the time it takes to do your deposit and then wait on the time it takes to do your holds, that time can add up quickly. So if you're joining before June 12th, go ahead and get those steps set and ready to go so that the week of June 12th, you can go ahead and register. If you're joining after June 12th, as quickly as possible, get everything handled. If you have any trouble with the process or the system, do feel free to reach out to me and I can help you navigate it. The other thing to mention is this orientation on Thursday, August 14th, starting at 5:45 Central is on Zoom, and it is required. We do tend to take almost the entire time. We'll go over some rules and policies, but more importantly, you'll get to meet your classmates for the first time on Zoom. You'll get to practice Zoom. We'll do a few things where you get a chance to kind of play around and get comfortable before your first class session begins. Then your classes start the week of August 25th. However, this is a big however. Actually, your Canvas course for your classes opens at least a week before, and I usually try to have them open by the week of orientation. So this week of orientation, everything really starts because you will have assignments due the week of August 25th. So just know this is not one of those programs where you can kind of, get registered and wait and show up to class on the first day. You will have assignments due in both classes that you take. One final key date to pay attention to is this first immersion. This is a required in-person immersion on the SMU campus in Dallas. Students love it. You're going to have a great time. And it's October 17th and 18th. We meet those full days. We start early in the morning both days and go until the evening, including having dinner together on that Friday night. So just know that is a required experience. It is part of your Principles of Public Administration course, and you cannot pass or even finish that course without going to the immersion. So if you have any questions or worries about that, please reach out as soon as possible. All right, so let's dig into the classes. Every student starts with 2 classes. Now, in your first semester, you have a choice. You can take one class or you can take two classes. You cannot take more than that your first semester. That is so we can set you up for success so that you are getting good grades, you're really learning, you're really being able to take advantage of the program. Most students do two classes and they find it manageable. Not easy, so it's definitely not easy, but it is manageable. I've recently surveyed our current students, and what I've learned is most weeks, students spend 10 to 12 hours all together outside of class for both classes. However, that workload can go as high as 10 to 12 hours per class. So there will be weeks where you will need to dedicate up to 20, 22, 24 hours to your classwork. These weeks tend to be about midterm, and they tend to be at the end because you'll have major papers, presentations, projects due. So I just want you to realize it is a lot of work. That is basically having another part-time job in addition to your full-time job for those of you who are working full-time. So just keep that in mind. This is a commitment. This is a rigorous grad student program, and we are working hard to build the reputation of this program so that when students graduate, employers and partners really understand that SMU students are really top notch and they want to hire. Now, the next thing to think about is on top of the work you'll do on your own, we also meet weekly for class. So each of these classes is a 3-hour class, which means you have 3 lecture hours, and then you have homework outside of that lecture hours. Now, let me explain the lecture hours. Half of your lecture hours, 90 minutes, is on your own time, what we call asynchronously. You log into a platform called Canvas. There you'll have your lecture videos and other class assignments your professor will assign. Then we have 90 minutes where we meet in person. Those are required because that's the part you've already done your lectures, you've already done your sit and get. Now you're applying your knowledge, and these will be engaging group work, highly participation. We do a lot of cold calling. There's prep for these classes, so those are important. You can miss some class due to excused absences, which we'll go over more in the orientation, but those include illness with a doctor's note, religious observations, which have to be planned in advance, and then SMU sanctioned extracurriculars. So for example, if you went to present at a conference, and then you get 1 to 2 additional what we call freebies, where life just happens, you can't make it, whatever it is. After that, your grade will drop a letter grade for additional absences. That is a big deal. So if you cannot commit to the evening classes, let's talk immediately, because this is a core component of our program. Those classes will always be offered Monday through Thursday in the evenings. It's usually 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central. I plan this out as much as I can so you can see that I've gotten pretty far with your courses. So I know when your fall courses are being offered, you can go ahead and mark these. I know when at least one of your spring courses are offered, and then I know when your summer course is offered. So you can go ahead and kind of mark these in your calendar. And as soon as I get updates from instructors and we start scheduling out, I update you all as well. And so just know that as soon as we have more information, I do work hard to pass that along to you because I know you like to plan in advance. Your first course is Principles of Public Administration. That is with me. We will go over the basics of public administration, the policy process, and you will write a full policy analysis in this course. So it's a lot of fun. Students have given really good feedback about what they learn and what they get to take away. And then you have applied data analysis. So this is a hands-on, you're going to really get into data sets with Dr. Cassidy Cooper. Then you can see how the courses progress. Again, you have that required October immersion as part of my class, and then you will come back, you will be with me again for your capstone. For your capstone, there's some choice to it, so I won't go into it too much here. semester, but we do try to have this be a very real world experience where you're taking all your learning from all the classes, you're putting it together, and you come out with a product and you present that product to some folks to get some feedback. So you'll come back on campus during your capstone B experience, and then we will do that. It's going to be, again, a 2-day kind of weekend thing. So we'll get dates as it gets closer to this time. Now, like I said, most students take 2 courses a semester. There are a couple of caveats or nuances that I will bring up to you. Number one is you can transfer up to 6 hours of graduate level work if approved by me. That takes a lot of work on your end. So you have to set a meeting with me. We have to talk about what courses they are, and you have to go and find the transcripts from those courses, which students tell me all the time is very time consuming. But that's SMU's required policy. It's not me. I have to follow SMU's policy, and then I have to justify that these courses align with our program goals. And many times they do, sometimes they don't. So that's why we have a meeting first before you go do all of those all that work. You also have 9 required classes and 4 electives. Your 4 electives are things, we have a set of electives that you can choose from, and we'll go into that more once you get into the program. And then you also can take, there's some limited opportunities to take courses in other programs. So if you're interested in that, we can talk more once you get in and get your coursework going. Those are the kinds of decisions, even transferring in credit, that can come later. So focus now on getting registered, getting enrolled for classes, and getting started on a very positive note and having those high grades and really learning things. Then we can worry about electives and transferring credits in. I will say the standard plan has you all graduating in fall of 2027. However, some students plan to take 3 courses when they take a capstone. And they do that because the capstone is only a 1.5-hour class instead of a 3-hour course. So instead of taking 6 hours, you would just add an hour and a half and you're at 7.5, which is doable. Hard, challenging, but doable. So that's what some students do, so they don't have to stay for that one additional semester. But again, there's no rush. It's not a race. In 5 years, you're not going to remember if it took you 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years to finish this program. Instead, focus on having a good experience and take it at the pace that makes sense for you, your life, your family, your context. Okay, those are the main things I wanted to cover today. Again, your focus right now should be getting your deposit in, clearing your holds, and getting ready to register that week of June 12th, which I'll communicate to you. You'll start getting emails from me pretty soon with different updates, first assignments, textbooks, things like that. But in the meantime, do set up time to meet with me. You all will have access to my Calendly link. You can make an appointment at any time. You don't need permission for that. You have my email, and those are the ways you can reach out to me in the meantime. So I'm so glad you're part of this program. Welcome. You are now officially an SMU Mustang, and we are proud to have you as part of this awesome program.